The Titanic, more than a century after it sank, it still has somewhat mythical status, but it's in a very fragile state. And last year, divers found that it was decaying, and there are fears that it may break up altogether in the coming years. Now, it's been on the ocean bed of the Atlantic, some 4 kilometres down, for 108 years. Of course, it famously sank on its maiden voyage across the Atlantic after hitting an iceberg. It's the stuff of legend, and of course, we all know about that film of 20 years ago or so. The wreck was only discovered in 1985 by Bob Ballard and his expedition, but since then there's been lots of activity with expeditions and divers visits. This agreement between the UK and the US means there'll be greater protection than before. Both those two governments can effectively veto applications to visit the site or remove artefacts from the wreck, so they will have the power to grant or deny licenses. They say this will help preserve the sites and also respect the memory of the 1,500 who died. All this will be announced today formally by the UK's Maritime Minister on a visit to Belfast, where the ship was designed. Until now, as you say, it has had UNESCO protection for the last few years, but it's in international waters, so there's no specific legislation. This, the UK and the USA, takes the level of protection a step further, and the UK says it's going to argue with other North Atlantic states such as France and Canada for protection to be stepped up still further.